When it comes to solving volume problems, the big thing we have to realize is what kind of shape is it that we're trying to solve for. The other thing is what variables do we know, what variables don't we know, and how do we solve for those variables. If we look at the first problem here, obviously it tells us that the base of a pyramid is a rectangle, so we're talking about a rectangular pyramid. If we try and visualize what a rectangular pyramid looks like, it's going to look something like this. Got two lines back there. So it's got a rectangle base, it's a pyramid up top. It's got a width of 6, the rectangle bottom has a width of 6 centimeters. So we can say one of these is going to be a 6. And it's got a length of 8, so I can say my second one is an 8 here. It's asking us to find the height of the pyramid if the total volume is 288 centimeters cubed. So I know that is my volume here. What I'm going to do now is find what my formula is for pyramid. So my pyramid formula is 1/3 of, that's down here, 1/3 of the base times the height. Now I'd like you guys to get used to seeing the formula sheet that's going to be available for you on your end of the year test. So you can see up here, the other thing we have to find out is what does that B mean? That B is the area of the base. Remember now we said the base of this pyramid is a rectangle that is 6 by 8. In order to find the area of a rectangle, we just do length times width. So to find this base, we're going to do 6 times 8, which is going to be 48. So my volume is going to be equal to 1/3 times 48 times the height. Doesn't give me a height, however it does give me what the volume was, which is 288. So now if I work backwards here, I can combine my 1/3 and my 48. That's going to give me 16. So I'll have 288 equals 16h. To solve for h, I'm going to divide by 16, divide by 16, and I'm going to get an answer of 18 for my height. Just have to be careful, that would be centimeters. Okay, so I just have to kind of plug and chug, find out what variables I have, what variables I'm missing, see if I can solve for them. So that'll be my first one. If I look at the second one here, it says which expression represents the volume in cubic centimeters of a cylinder with a height of 23 centimeters and a diameter of 12 centimeters. So I'm looking for a cylinder and I'm looking for the volume. The volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times height. So if I draw this out real quick, I've got my cylinder, I've got a height of 27, and I've got a diameter all the way across the circle here of 12. So if I look over at what I need now, I've got pi, that's going to be a constant, so I don't have to worry about plugging anything in for that. My radius, however, is going to be half of my diameter, so it's going to be 6 squared. My height is given as 27, so I know that my formula is going to be pi times 6 squared times 27. If we do some quick math here, 6 squared is 36 times 27 gives me 972. If I plug in 3.14 for pi, I'm going to get a value for my volume of 3052, and we'll name that, since it's volume, centimeters cubed. So that's number 2, and if we move on to number 3 here. A right circular cylinder has a volume of 1,000 cubic inches and a height of 8 inches. What is the radius? So I'm going to work with the same volume formula. And if I draw my circle, my cylinder that is, so I know it's got a height of 8 inches. I know the total volume is 1,000. This one's going to be the one where I plug in from my variables and see what I have left. Obviously my radius is going to be what I don't have. So I'm going to plug in, and it's the same formula as we were using up here. So I'm going to just plug into this formula. My volume is 1000. I've got it's equal to pi times radius squared, because we don't know that yet, times the height, which is 8. So now if we do a little bit of simple solving to get rid of this 8 over here, we divide by 8. If I divide both sides by 8, that gives me 125 on the left side. If I then divide by pi, I would divide by 3.14. I'm going to get my radius squared, and we'll write it over here. My radius squared equals 39.8. And if I want to find what my radius is, take the square root of that. If I take the square root of 39.8, it's going to give me roughly 6.3 inches. So you can see with volume, a lot of it is knowing our formulas here. It's going to be hard to solve anything without knowing our formulas. In this case, these formulas are all going to be provided for you here. We've just got to be able to utilize them. You've got to be able to make sense of what these are up here as well, because these give you some clues as to how to solve these problems.